When people ask me what my favorite thing is about my husband, Michael, the answer is always the same. He's fun. In fact, it was his playful energy that took me from a simple, oh, he's kind of cute when I first saw him, to being fully smitten within 3 hours. You see, when we first met, I was his dental hygienist, and he hadn't been to a dentist in about 5 years. And so he was in need of the full x-rays, and he happened to also need a deep cleaning. So he was going to be in my chair for a long time. And so for these longer appointments, we always allow the patients to choose a movie. Did he pick some kind of intense action movie or maybe some kind of serious documentary? No, he chose a cartoon. He chose Ice Age. So this whole time I'm like working on his teeth and doing my thing, and he's sitting there and just laughing. And he has this really great boisterous laugh, which he's not really a fan of, but I really love. So even back then I wasn't consciously thinking, wow, this guy's fun. But subconsciously, it must have registered because he wasn't even saying a word. And yet with each minute, I grew more and more attracted to him. And I don't think fun within your relationship as being a driver of attraction is emphasized nearly enough. Most of the time we tell men, we got to work on your appearance to attract women. And while that is actually true, what we actually don't emphasize nearly enough is this mental attraction that a woman must also have for you and how that plays into attraction as a whole. So I'm not going to discount pure raw attraction. That absolutely has to be there. But you're going to hear me say over and over again that physical attraction gets you in the door, but it is a woman's mental attraction to you that will keep you there. So if you're a man who is solely focusing on your appearance because your goal is not about the long-term potential of the relationship, but just rather a short-term getting a girl in the sheets perspective, then your attractiveness in a relatively decent level game is all you need to worry about. But if you're seeking something more, something deeper, something more long-term like marriage, then the winning combination comes from staying physically and mentally hot. So the vibe that works the best for long-term relationships, one that is going to ensure that not only does the relationship survive, but actually thrives and actually keeps a woman mentally locked in, is one that is lighthearted, fun, and flirty. And one of the worst things that can happen to your relationship is to have a woman believe you to be boring. Because if she believes you to be boring, then that mental attraction for you is going to die. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to give you 5 simple ways to drive a woman's sexual desire by having more fun. Hey there, I just wanted to swing in real quick and ask you to hit that subscribe, that like, that share button, all the YouTube-y things. Also, I wanted to let you know about my community on School. One thing I know is that relationships are messy and you probably shouldn't be doing it alone. So if you want to be able to have direct access to asking me questions and the support of an amazing community of just solid men, then go ahead and check out my community on School. And now back to the show. So why is having fun an attraction booster? Well, it's because life can be drudgery. Like you go to work, you take the kids to school, you take them to practice, you make dinner, you clean up, you have maybe a little bit of downtime in there, but every day can kind of end up like Groundhog's Day. It's the same thing one day, then the day after that, and the day after that. So the repetition of how you two are living together, how you're doing life together, this consistency, the predictability, these are the things that men love. And those elements are necessary on some level just to be able to invoke a sense of trust and stability and security that women really do need and desire. But when that's all there is, when there's no other aspect to life, to the relationship, to your personality, that's going to kill attraction fast. So fun in the relationship is the fuel that keeps the mental attraction fire burning bright. It amplifies what's already there physically by triggering those positive emotions and creating sexual desire. And I explained this concept a little bit in a previous video I did. I believe I titled that The Gentleman versus the Beast. And it's a video in which I explain why women say that they want the nice guy, but then at the same time put that nice guy aside for the bad boy, which makes her actions seem somewhat like contradictory or incongruent. So in that video, I had recommended that men operate primarily in the gentleman mode about 80% of the time, while sprinkling in the beast mode traits like unpredictability, confidence, dominance, and fun 20% of the time. And because beast mode is the primary proactive move that you can do that can serve to enhance a woman's level of mental attraction for you, assuming that her hormones are all up to par and optimized, Then you need to start increasing your beast mode to see exactly what it will do for your relationship and your sex life. And this should be like a slow dialing up, because I don't want you to go from 0 to 100 in an area, because that will just make a woman be like, what's going on here? It will seem a bit disingenuous. So it's a slow ramping up of just how much you're operating within the beast mode until you start seeing positive changes from your wife, both in and out of the bedroom. And you may think, well, Monica, I do offer my wife a ton of fun. Like we go on weekly date nights. So how can I be doing all these right things? I'm a good provider. I help with the kids. I do my share. I do date nights. And still I'm doing all these things that are supposedly what I need to do, but I'm seeing nothing. And this is often because it's the frequency of fun that is important. Because what you're doing with date nights is you're trying to delegate fun once a week or once every other week. And then you're expecting to see these 1 or 2 things you do a month and have it translate into this radical change within your marriage. And that's just not frequent enough. And plus, how are you going to have a relationship that is lighthearted, fun, and flirty if you have to leave the house to achieve it? So you can't really rely on outsourcing the fun to a place or a location, or by simply having the financial means to pay for an experience that you happen to be there with your woman at the time that it's happening. What I'm talking about when I say to be more fun is to be the source of it, to bring that fun energy into your day-to-day life. So no matter where you are or what you're doing, it's always going to be more fun because you are a part of the process. And if you weren't there, that activity just wouldn't be the same as if you were. I know for me, I personally had that experience. So I took my mom and my sister on a cruise, and it was just the 3 of us. And just for the record, cruising is my vacation of choice. And I think it's because I don't have to be an adult at all. You know, I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean. I'm just completely surrounded by beautiful, clear waters. It's warm. There's music, fruity cocktails. Everyone's friendly. Like, it's just good times all around. So it's really hard to have a bad time on a cruise. But I learned a lesson from going on that cruise without Michael, and that was that even though I was there with people I loved, and even though I was having fun, it just wasn't the same level of fun because he wasn't there. His fun, playful energy was missing. So while the environment was right, the fun was muted because I experienced the same environment with him and without him. It was far better with him. And so I learned the value of being the source of fun versus being in a fun environment. I also learned another lesson, which was that I'm never, ever going to share a room with my mother and sister again because both of them snored like freight trains. Like, I had never come back from a vacation so exhausted in my life. And so it's your personal energy that I really want to emphasize here. It's not that the date nights don't have value, but if taking your wife on a date night a couple times a month is the only source of fun in the relationship, it's just not frequent enough to sustain that high level of mental attraction that is going to be essential for the long term. The frequency is the key here. Like, think about it when you're working out. If you only do one big working out session a week instead of these smaller, consistent workouts, you're just going to have better results with those smaller, consistent workouts. And so when I hear the idea online about making date nights non-negotiable, I just can't help but feel like it's a bit misleading. Is it better than nothing? Sure. Especially if there's nothing else happening at all to create an atmosphere of fun in your marriage. But I think that this idea of a weekly date night leads to a lot of frustrated men who are doing everything right and not getting the results that they're hoping for. Additionally, mandatory weekly date nights can also backfire because it just becomes like another to-do on a woman's list of things that she already has to get done. Like, it actually can make her feel more stressed than she already is, especially if you are requiring her to participate in the planning of it, and you're requiring her to come up with the idea of what to do or where to eat, or tell her that she actually needs to be the one who finds the sitter. You're actually creating more work for her to make that happen. So if you are going to incorporate those date nights, make sure you're doing it in a way like you did when you were dating, and you just take care of everything. Now, I will say where date nights are really particularly helpful is when it comes to couples who have young children, especially in that toddler phase. Like, getting mom out of the house during that time is really crucial, because if a woman doesn't get a break from her kids, it's going to drive her batshit crazy. A lot of what kills sexual desire for a woman comes about from losing her identity as an individual. Like, when the kids come around, like some of these women, and I know myself for sure, if the kids are around at all, like, my body is just tuned into them. And it's like this instinctual thing. So when a man will tell his Wife, well, just ignore the kids. You're asking her to do something she's biologically wired to do. It takes mental discipline to block it out. And that's even hard for me. And I'm a highly sexual woman. So if I have problems with it, other women who are not quite at this level are going to have problems with it too. So the better strategy is to focus on sprinkling in fun into your daily life so that she doesn't need a special outing and she doesn't need a special activity to have a fun marriage. You want her to see you as the fun, not the activity that you guys are doing together. And you know I'm not going to tell you guys to work on becoming a man who is more fun and then not offer up ideas of how to do that. So let's get into it right now. 5 simple ways in which to drive a woman's sexual desire by having more fun. The first way to have more fun is to get competitive. Are you guys going grocery shopping? Maybe you might want to try to put her in the cart and push her around. And she'll just be in there having fun until, all the groceries pile up and it just gets too full. She'll have to get out there. Or maybe when you get to the end, you can try to see who can come up to the closest total at the end. Who can guess what the bill is going to be? If you have to do some laundry, maybe that you guys can see who can fold the laundry the fastest or put it away the fastest. So no matter what you're doing in daily life, adding a little bit of that competition element always makes it more fun. The second way to have more fun is to get physical, like wrestle, tickle, pin her down. Hey, you know what? It worked for Giselle. Tom Brady lost his wife to a jiu-jitsu instructor. And part of the reason is because it not only showed his strength, but because wrestling is playful, fun, and dominant. Like literally chase her around the house. This happens like almost on the daily in my house. Pick up a ball and throw it to her. Play catch inside. At bedtime, why walk to bed when you can pick her up and throw her over your shoulder caveman style? Or maybe she can hop on and you can give her a piggyback ride. Or during those times that she fell asleep on the couch, why not just scoop her up and carry her like a baby? I remember this happening only one time with Michael where I fell asleep on the couch because I never fall asleep to TV, but he scooped me up, he carried me off to bed and laid me down. And I still remember it because it was quite endearing. It was quite romantic. So not only are these things playful, but they also show your physical strength as a man, which is super important. And sometimes when women are being difficult, this is a great technique to make her pay. If she's getting a little bit difficult, instead of getting mad, why don't you just hold her down and tickle her? The third way to have more fun is to add music. The dishes, the laundry, cooking, driving, all these things we can add music to. We can crank up the tunes, you can dance a little bit, you can sing together. The reality is that life needs to happen. You're gonna have to go grocery shopping, you're gonna have to clean the house, you're gonna have to do all these things. There's always a way to make those more fun. The fourth way to have more fun is to do something a little shady. Now, I'm not talking about anything super over the top here. Michael and I, we both grow up poor. He was at a poorer level than I was growing up, but we both had to work very hard to overcome that. But because of that, we've always been quite frugal. Well, one time our oven went out and we had to replace it. And when the company came to deliver the oven, they wanted $50 to remove the old one and dump it. And we're like, heck no, we're not gonna pay $50 for that. So we loaded up the oven into the back of the truck and we dumped it off in one of the back of those commercial centers that have the big dumpsters. And we sped off like, we were wanted by the FBI. So that was fun, but just a little bit shady. Or, maybe you can sneak some candy in the movies. I'm not talking about anything super crazy that's gonna get you arrested, guys. But as Lorraine says to Marty in Back to the Future, don't be such a square. The fifth way to have more fun is to stop being so dang predictable. Maybe go home a different way one day. Maybe pull off on the side of the road and just go over and kiss your wife and keep driving after that. Maybe as your wife walks away, take her arm, pull her back and give her a kiss. Or maybe wear something different than you normally wear. Maybe wear a bright colored shirt or some crazy socks. You want to start being less predictable. So what you will have noticed in these suggestions is that there's almost like an infinite ways to have more fun in your day-to-day life. And it's not just a better way to operate within your relationship, it's just a better way to operate in life. Now, being fun is just one of the beast mode traits that creates and maintains long-term attraction. So if you want to learn more about how to incorporate those beast mode traits into your relationship, then you may want to consider purchasing my new course, How to Create and Maintain Long-Term Sexual Attraction. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. And if you've made it this far, then you will probably enjoy this video, which YouTube seems to think you're going to really love. And with that, I'll see you next time.